Hello, today is Monday. But I did really want to make a point to talk about something, and if you haven't heard, there's this new show called 13 Reasons Why on Netflix, and it's about a girl who takes her life and she leaves tape recordings behind for 13 reasons and each reason is connected to one of her classmates or someone that she knows, and they're the reason that she makes the decision to commit suicide. And as someone who's dealt with anxiety and depression, I felt like I could relate to a lot of it, and obviously there's other parts where I couldn't, because she is a teenager and she's in high school and she's going through the ups and downs of relationships and friendships, etc., etc. But the reason I wanted to make this point is because mental stigma in today's world is this thing that just no one wants to talk about. And it's like, if you can't see anxiety and you can't see depression, we don't want to talk about it. And it's not physical trauma, so you don't see it, and then there's no point to have a discussion about it. And I think that that is so unfortunate, especially with mental illnesses being such a common thing in today's world, and especially I've noticed it in the younger generation. So I think that if we were just kinder to one another, compassionate and understanding, not just the people that you know and interact with every single day, but to strangers as well, I think that we could all make a bigger difference than the way the world is functioning today. Because it saddens me when somebody out there, whether they talk to you about it or not, is carrying such a heavy heart and such a heavy burden on their shoulders, and they feel like they can't talk to anyone about it. The biggest lesson, life lesson that came from watching that show is that although suicide itself is the act of taking your life, I feel like that's not the case. Physically, yes, you take your life, or physically someone else takes their life, but at the end of the day, there's so many contributing factors, and most of the time it's just other people and interactions that you've had with other people that lead you to make that decision. So I find the irony in saying that suicide is the act of taking your life when there's so many other hands, minds, hearts, souls, lives involved in making that decision. I found it kind of interesting, and the show really put that into perspective. So if you do know someone that's battling with depression or anxiety or any kind of other mental disorder, reach out, find a way to help them, find a way to help yourself if you can relate, and just be kind to one another. And I guess I'll talk to you guys soon. Hello. So it has been a couple days since I last picked up the camera and vlogged, and to be honest, I think a large part of it has to do with emotionally investing myself into a show. I've had a really rough week just dealing with personal things, but more than that, 13 Reasons Why, which I already mentioned in my last clip, there are just some parts of Hannah's story that have really resided within me, and I just had to come to terms with a lot of things. But the reason I want to pick up the camera is because in my last clip, and I know I'm wearing the same thing, so it seems like it's the same clip, but I promise you it's not. I believe that was Monday and today is Thursday night. The reason I wanted to pick up my camera is to specifically talk about the rape scenes, and the reason I feel like that's important to talk about is because there was this revelation that I came to, and I feel like before, maybe years ago, or the way that movies tend to depict rape is that rape is very loud, and in that sense where the girl is kicking and she's punching and she's trying to get herself out of this situation, and she's either drunk or wearing something that's inappropriate, or she's at a club. And I think that's where a lot of victim blaming comes from. That whole idea of she shouldn't have been there, or she shouldn't have been wearing that, or she should have known better. And it saddens me when I see more so other females victim blaming females, and maybe it's just an awkward conversation or it's uncomfortable, but for someone to avoid that just because it's uncomfortable to you, you can only imagine what the person who actually went through and the discomfort they felt in that moment. The rape scenes that are depicted in 13 Reasons Why are not loud. They're not your typical everyday TV drama or Bollywood or Hollywood movie that you see the way these scenes are depicted. The scenes itself are very quiet. The victim is quiet. She is numb. She doesn't know what to do, so she does nothing at all. She freezes. She's so traumatized that she can't move. She cannot comprehend what she is going through. Her body is there, but her mind is somewhere completely different, not even in that situation. And it isn't until after where she's thinking about what just happened or what just happened to her. And I think that everyone needs to realize that just because something isn't loud, just because it isn't in your face, just because the circumstances of that particular situation or that sexual assault that took place isn't your typical stereotypical way of doing things, does not mean that it is not just as important or just as valid. And when you have friends or family that go through traumatic events like that, the worst thing that you can possibly say to them is to forget about it or act like it didn't happen or make their feelings seem like they're invalid and they're insignificant and that they make no sense, because only that person truly understands what they went through and what they are gonna go through for the rest of their life, and that's a burden that they have to carry with them. And they might move on in the sense where they've learned to accept it, because you can't go back in time and you can't sit in a time machine and you can't make sure that that didn't happen to you. It is what it is, but ultimately it's a matter of you just coming to terms with it. You haven't accepted it in the way that you're okay with what happened to you, but you've accepted it in terms of, for your sanity, you have forgiven yourself so you can move forward and you can live your life as happily and as full as you possibly can. So I'm not sure if what I just said makes a whole lot of sense, and I'm sorry if I ruined the show for you if you plan to watch it. Maybe I'll add a disclaimer before this whole scene even starts, but I just felt like it was an important point to make. And if one person who is watching this understands what I'm trying to say or trying to get at, then I feel like it's mission accomplished. So I just finished doing my hair and makeup. It's Friday, so this vlog will be releasing in a few days, so it's in 2-week increments. But today I'm going out with my friends Lauren and Hardeep, and I think I introduced them to the vlog before. I did my makeup, but I did it on camera on my iPhone just because I find it easier. The camera that I'm using shuts off every 10 minutes, like the vlog camera that I'm using shuts off every 10 minutes, and obviously if there's no one sitting behind the camera, I don't know when it shuts off. So I prefer to use my iPhone for my makeup stuff for now until I can get a better camera. I'm going to quickly do my hair, just straightening it. Probably going to do that off camera as well. So I may or may not include the makeup stuff and the hair stuff in this vlog, but instead I will post it to my Instagram. I haven't decided yet because this vlog seems like it's going to be pretty long. There's already a lot of footage. Other than that, I hope everyone is having a fabulous week. The weather today was super odd. It was snowing. The roads were so bad. My car slid and actually had to put on my emergencies, and I felt really dumb in a sense because I drive a Jeep Wrangler, and I'm sure there's people on the road thinking like, you're driving a pretty big car, you had nothing to worry about. But I made it home safe, and I hope everyone else did too. Now it's like super sunny outside and everything's melting, and it's so weird. Like, that's Canada for you, and that's also global warming. This weekend I have quite a busy weekend actually. Tomorrow is my cousin's birthday party. I actually thought it was last weekend, and clearly my head is just all over the place. So his birthday party is tomorrow, and then on Sunday I want to do a video with my sister, so that'll be posted before this vlog is released. So I'm actually doing the whisper challenge with her. I actually tried to do the whisper challenge with my mom, and it was very difficult to do it with her because she wasn't trying, she wasn't guessing. It was kind of like, I can't hear you, I can't hear you, I don't know what you're saying. So that's why we reverted back to doing the mom tag instead. So hopefully the whisper challenge will be a lot more successful with my sister. I will vlog the rest of my evening today, and hope you guys have a safe and amazing weekend. So I will talk to you soon. I think we're going to East Sides in Heartland. If anyone knows me, they know that I hate taking the highway. A long time ago, about 2 years ago, it's gonna be 3 years in December, I was in a really bad car accident, which is a story that I'll save for another time. But yeah, I just don't like taking the highway. I'm not comfortable taking it. And I think I can take main roads to get to Heartland. To be honest, I don't think I've ever been to Heartland. I know that's kind of sad. Like, I'm born and raised in Toronto, but yeah, I am having a very good hair day. And I want to be perfectly honest with everyone that's watching. This is not my real hair. I have 3 tracks of extensions in it. One is a full one and then 2 half ones on each side. And I used to have really thick hair. I think every Indian Punjabi girl can vouch for that. Your goat was like this thick when you were growing up. And then, I mean, I don't know if it's from dyeing it, but I noticed that when I'm going through periods of a lot of stress, I shed a lot of hair. So over the last few months, mostly I think since like last September, August, September, so I've lost quite a bit of hair, and I like having a thick full head of hair. So thought that I would share that little tidbit of information with you, not that you probably care, and I will talk to you soon. So I took the highway. I didn't think that my GPS would take me onto the highway, but it did, and I made it. and I'm very proud of myself. I know for some people it's not the greatest or the biggest accomplishment, but anything that I do to get out of my comfort zone, and yeah, I was tense when I was on it and worrying and, you know, it's keeping an eye out for not just myself but everyone else on the road. I'm proud of myself. I made it, and that's what matters. So I'm going to be heading in soon, and you'll probably see like a montage of the food and my friends with no sound and just music. So let's get to it. There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. There goes a sight from my soul. I think a fall angel just walked by. I think a fall angel just walked by. So I just got home and I had a lovely evening with Hardeep and Lauren. But on my way home, I got lost, and you would think that it's very simple to make your way home on the highway from like square one to Brampton, but for someone like me who has no sense of direction whatsoever, like I have no idea what goes north, south, east, west, it's not so easy for me. So I got lost, and it's one thing to have a GPS on and still get lost. I know it's kind of embarrassing, but I ended up having to get back on the ramp. I believe I was supposed to take the 409 west, and I took 409 east the first time. So to make a big circle and then go back on Dixon just to get back on 409 west. Something along those lines. And the entire time I'm doing this, I'm getting angry because it's taking me longer to get home, and I'm just tired. I've been awake all day. You know, you just want to be in your bed. But at the same time, I personally believe that everything happens for a reason. And I know that a lot of people believe in that statement, that everything happens for a reason. So as someone, if I say that I truly believe in that, I think I need to let things just be. And what I mean by that is, so what? It took me an extra 4 or 5 minutes to get home. I need to leave it to God and know and understand that He has a bigger plan for me that I can ever have for myself. And maybe me getting lost saved me from something. And I think that when you start looking at life in that positive light, and you start looking at life in terms of all the hidden silver linings, it's just a much more beautiful journey to be on, and it's a much more easier journey to be on. Being negative isn't easy. Being negative is tiring. And if you can just look at a situation, understand that it happened for a reason, take a breather, understand it, comprehend it, and move forward, that you will be successful in every aspect of your life. I'll give you guys a prime example. There was this one time I was going to work, and I was in the far right lane, and for some reason I decided to go into the middle lane. So I turned on my left signal, went into the middle lane, and the car behind me wasn't paying attention and rear-ended the car that was originally in front of me from when I was in that right lane. And I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense, but what I'm saying is that could have been me. If I hadn't made the decision to make that left turn in that moment, I easily would have been the car that got rear-ended. So I think that when you're waking up in the morning and you're tired, you're already running late, and you forget something, so you have to run back inside, and it takes an extra 2 seconds or an extra minute or an extra 2 minutes, understand that it happens for a reason. Everything you do every single day has a domino effect. So every decision you make, from the point of you waking up in the morning to the point of you going to sleep, all has a domino effect. So leave it to God and just understand that He will have a bigger, greater, grander plan that you can ever have for yourself. And I think that's actually one of the biggest mistakes humans make, is planning every single minute of our lives, at what age we want to be married by and what age we want to have kids by. And you can plan all you want, but chances are it won't go according to plan. So that's the kind of message. I know it's like 11 o'clock, or it's actually midnight, but kind of a deep thought to be having before going to bed, but I wanted to make sure that I shared it with you. This is the whole purpose of my channel, is like there's a lot going on in here and I want to share it with you. So thank you for listening, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.